I love tacos. Or at least I used to. You see, there's this taco truck that used to drive around the city where I live. It would park in busy parts of the city during the day and serve its delicious taco goodness to those in the area. I mean, don't get me wrong, I won't lie, the truck was sketchy as all hell. You see, it was one of those old ice cream trucks from back in the day that had been converted into a food wagon. Its mint green paint was peeling off and exposing decades of rust and other weather-related damage. And fixed to the top was a sheet of plywood with a badly drawn taco in it and the words, "One for the road," on top. So yeah, it was pretty sketchy. But oh so delicious. One night, after work, I was driving home and I saw it parked in the corner. This was, of course, a lucky break for me, as I was exhausted that night and didn't feel like cooking myself dinner when I got home. I found a parking spot near the truck and went to order my food. I ordered 3 taco grandes and a burrito carne with extra guacamole. All that deliciousness, and it only cost me just $10. I grabbed a bag of food from the old guy who was working at the truck and hopped into my car. Once buckled up, safety first kids, I dug out my burrito to eat on the way home. Oh my god, I was in heaven. That burrito was so goddamn delicious that I didn't even get mad when a huge glob of guacamole fell out of it and onto my white t-shirt. I simply scooped it up with my finger and plopped it back in my mouth. I finished the burrito as I pulled into the driveway, so I crumpled the wrapper up and tossed it into the bag. Hopping out of my car, I hurried inside with the giddiness usually reserved for children on Christmas Day. I deposited the bag on the kitchen table and went to the fridge to grab a nice ice-cold beer and turn on my iPod. To my delight, I actually had a few brand new episodes of this awesome horror podcast that I like all synced up to my iPod and ready to go. I listened to the sultry voice of one of the female narrators spin her yarn of horror and dread as I absolutely demolished those tacos one by one. The manner in which I ate them could have been possibly a horror story in of itself. I thought about those poor, unsuspecting tacos that were thrust into my ravenous gaping maw, and how spittle-covered debris hurtled over the clean surface of the table. I mean, yeah, it sounded cool in my head, but I'm not a writer. And the story ended, I finished up my beer, cleaned up after myself, and went to watch some TV, with my glorious meal already a tasty memory. My life went back to normal after that. Work, sleep, repeat, etc. for the next few days until I woke one morning with an odd sensation in my throat. I figured I was coming down with something and brushed it off as the beginning of a summer cold. I got up, showered, did my whole morning routine, and off to work I went. In the passing days, it went from a minor annoyance to a constant discomfort. I thought about getting myself checked out, but I didn't have health insurance and there was no way in hell I could afford a trip to the hospital. So like any other pig-headed dude in his early 30s, I decided to just tough it out a bit longer and see what would happen next. As you could probably expect, that was a really big mistake. As time passed, I got used to the discomfort, and it kind of got pushed in the back of my mind. Quite some time later, I was sitting at the kitchen table, drinking my second cup of coffee and reading the newspaper when I saw an article with the picture on the taco truck. With the picture of the taco truck and a headline that read, "Local taco truck, health violation on wheels." I was stunned when I read the list of violations. Broken coolers containing food stored at over safe temperatures, dirty utensils that looked like they had never been cleaned, food left out to sit on counters. The violations went on and on and on. I couldn't believe the fact that I got food from there. When it mentioned the vermin infestation, I began to gag. Not figuratively either. I got this strange sensation in my throat and began dry heaving. I rushed over to the kitchen sink and spat into it. I expected a glob of phlegm or even maybe a little vomit, but what I didn't expect. What I did not expect was the tiny brown six-legged bug that was now crawling around in my sink. A cockroach. A fucking cockroach. As the realization of what happened hit me, I began gagging again. Leaning into the sink, dry heaving repeatedly, I felt the tickling sensation of more of those bastards skittering and crawling up my throat, only to be ejected from my mouth and into the sink. I can't tell you how long I stood there crying like a baby that wants its mommy as more of those fucking things spewed from my mouth. When the horror finally ended, I did the only sensible thing that I could do. I puked right into that sink and all over the mound of baby roaches that hadn't completely climbed out of the sink yet. Feeling completely violated, I rushed to the bathroom and brushed my teeth until my gums bled and then I downed an entire bottle of mouthwash. As I looked at my wretched reflection in the mirror, I pieced together what might have happened. One of the meals I got from the taco truck must have had a roach in it, and that son of a bitch managed to lay eggs in my throat, which must have been what was causing my discomfort. After managing to completely collect myself, I called an exterminator and set a date for him to come and deal with those little bastards, and then I went to the hospital. Cost be damned. Luckily, there was no serious damage except to my psyche, and I lucked out and the exterminator was able to get to my house earlier than planned. So yeah, I fucking hate tacos.
In fear and surprise as your eyes widen, your mouth goes dry with each battered breath. You try to scream, your mind begs to leave, glued to your computer screen. The killers they slash, the tapes burn and crash. The cartridge you bought will be your final haunt. The rituals of hate will seal your fate. The tears you shed will be from the fear-gripping, horror-driven, nightmarish, gore-filled, terrorizing, hateful, burning, violent, rage-inducing, knife-slashing, blood-splattering, silent screams. Only time will tell if you will escape this online hell. Your horror-filled obsessions will come with its own regressions. Your pathetic screams will not be heeded in any way, because your nightmares will come at